What's up, everyone? All right, well, we have made it to the end of August, just barely. I started this month with a red day. August 1st, I went red $44,000. And today, the last day of the month, I went red $13,500 before making a miraculous recovery back to green. The stock that finally put me back over the edge into the green was IPDN, currently up over 200% on 119 million shares of volume. It's got a 1.3 million share float. And, this is just a stock that I really didn't have high expectations for. When it first started moving earlier this morning, it was below the 200 moving average, which is this purple line right here. So I thought, resistance at the 200 around, what was it, like 364? But it pushed right through that. And once it was over that level, we had a nice clear shot first to $5 and then with room up to $7. The $7 level was the high of this candle back here, which was at the very beginning of the year. Let's see, it was on January 2nd. So that was the next level of resistance that we've just come into now. So, all in all, it wasn't the easiest stock to trade, but it did give us a pretty decent move. So the problem on this one for me, so no doubt, it is our number one leading gainer today. Well, not including this reverse split up here, but disregarding that, the number one leading gainer with some good volume. So the only issue with it was that from the very beginning, it was pretty thickly traded. And I have traded this stock before, and I found that it just is a grinder. It hasn't been a stock in the past that has put in like really big candles. So, if anything, we look at the daily chart and we see these high volume red candles. So I just thought, I just don't know. Now, I guess we look back a little further and there was a couple, big candle moves and whatever. But more recently, my memory of it has been that it's not an easy stock to trade. So when it first popped up pre-market, I was like, nah, I don't know, probably not. It's a little too cheap. It's already getting thickly traded. It starts pushing up here, and I was like, it's interesting, but, the 200 moving average, I don't know if I can work with that. So here's where I broke the ice on it. This is kind of interesting because it squeezed up right here to a high of just under 4. Then it dips down. It breaks over 4. It pulls back. It pushes a little bit higher. It dips down. And then all of a sudden here, it starts to pull away. And so that pulling away action right there, that was where I made my money on it. And that was, pretty much the cleanest move of the entire day. So didn't trade it in this area. We did have a false breakout here, which is a little risky. And then a number of topping tails up here off of the $6 level. It sold off, rejected, and then came back up, but it still wasn't able to really pull away in a more meaningful way. Not like SOGP yesterday. So SOGP, I did that double recap yesterday for you guys, highlighting this incredible move on SOGP, which went from $6 to 18. So fantastic move. This one actually was the first stock I traded today. And I went red on it. Where did I trade it? Right at 7 a.m. right here. I bought on this candle as it was coming up, this red candle. I was looking for the breakthrough this level, and then I was looking for a breakthrough this pivot. And then I thought if we got over this level here, which was about $16.14, and I'll draw the line for you. It was right up here, 16.14, that we then had room up to, I sort of thought the high of this candle back here, which was way up over $18, 18.56. So that's what I was looking for. A dip, ascending support, taking the trade at 7 a.m., squeeze through 16, hold that level, pull back, and then rally up towards 17, 18. And unfortunately, what ended up happening is it popped up here and just did a big nosedive. So first trade of the day. Did 2,500 share order blocks to reduce my size, just to be a little bit more cautious. So 3 orders of 2,500 shares. Full size, 7,500 shares. And I'm in at about 1485. It ends up going up to a high, that's not right. Where was this? Let's pull up the orders. Okay, so this is where I sit on the day. Like I said, I barely survived. This is not a big green day. So SOGP lost $7,000 on the first trade. And my entry was actually 15.20, 15.32, and then added at 15.44. So adding for the break of the $0.50. It then rejects, and I stopped out, tried to sell at 14.81. I filled 400 shares of my order, and then the rest didn't fill. So then I sell and get another 200 shares filled at 14.80, another 103 shares at 14.80, and then 919 shares at 14.71. It drops to 14.55. I decide to add on the dip at 14.55. It hardly pops up at all. And then I sold more at 14.41, 14.49, 14.43, 14.37, and 14.33, losing nearly $1 a share on 7,500 shares. So I started the day by going down 7,500 bucks at 7 a.m. And I thought, well, that's a bummer. And kind of typical, stock makes a big move yesterday. I don't trade it at all. Then I break the ice on it today, and it's just instant rejection. So felt a little annoyed, but thought it's still early. So let's be patient. So then the next stock that I traded after that loss on SOGP was, let's see. So SOGP was the first trade of the day. And then we had YYAI. So YYAI pops up. This stock hits the scanners, and you can see right here, it squeezes up very quickly. So this is a 1-minute chart. I'm actually, and this is, you don't like to see this, from 7 all the way down to $1.50. It's not good. But let's just pull this thing up here on the 10-second chart. Help you understand why I traded it. So it pops up on the scanner. It's got a relatively low float. And so it makes this initial move right here from 4 all the way up to 7. I don't trade that. It dips back down here, bounces back up, dips back down, bounces back up, dips back down, bounces back up, dips back down. Comes back up here, is holding. And so I got in right here for the break through 6. I felt like it was holding. And it did not hold. It drops down here. And I held for a second to see if this would give a first 1-minute candle to make a new high, right? So if we would go green. So I knew I got in a little high here. I thought it was just going to continue. So I held through this pullback, and then I added right here. Ends up, well, I guess it was right here. It ends up not breaking through the new high, and then I stopped out as it came back down here. So I lost $5,718.46. Now I'm down 12,500 on the day. This is not good. I am moving in the wrong direction. This is not good for Friday. Going into a long weekend, taking a big loss, that is not fun. That doesn't feel good. So now I'm kind of getting a little nervous that my day is falling apart. My next trade is on NUKK. NUKK hits the scanners, and as you can see, pops up, pulls back, pops up, pulls back, pops up, pulls back, and pushes higher. So on this one, I was not optimistic that we were going to get a good move. Why? It had made a big move a couple days ago and then gave back the whole thing. So I thought this is sort of a dead cat bounce. So for those of you guys not familiar with the expression, you throw a cat out the window, it's going to bounce. They've got those springy little legs. It's not going to get back to the top of the roof where you threw it out. It's just going to bounce like a foot off the ground. So that's all that's happening here. It's sold off hard. Now it's going to bounce up with those springy little legs. But that's it. So I thought, this thing's not going to do much. I really have low expectations for it. But son of a gun, this thing just kept moving higher. And so right here, I'm watching it. And I saw it pop up here. And right here, I said, it's holding right underneath this level. And I think if it keeps holding this level, it's going to pull away. So I end up adding right here on NUKK. And sure enough, this thing squeezes all the way up to about $6 a share. Made $5,511 on that. Thank goodness. Finally, my first trade in the green. Yikes. All right, so now I've recouped, I recouped basically what I lost on YYAI, more or less. So I'm back to where I was after that trade. So now I'm ready to kind of, focus on the next stock. So I'm down $7,500 coming into the open. And I don't really have anything I'm watching at the open, but I'm just thinking, let's see what gains some momentum. And then YDES hits my high day momentum scanner. Oops. YDES hits my scanner. It pops up and I see it, and I see that today is day one. This is a special acquisition company that merged and is now trading under the new symbol. I checked the float. It shows it's about 250,000 shares. They only raised like $11 million in this this sort of SPAC merger. So I end up taking a starter at 894 right here, and it halts up. Now, I only got filled 2,500 shares, but I thought, whatever, let's break the ice. Why? It's day one. Day one can get big moves. You're not going to have any bag holders that are underwater. Often short sellers are going to be pretty cautious about shorting something on day one because, you don't have really levels put in yet. It's often hard to find shares to borrow even if you wanted to. And this has a very low float. So I thought this could be, kind of that under the radar stock that makes a big move. So I'm in at just under $9 and it shows a resumption of about 13. So it's showing that it's going to resume at $13 a share. It's a 4-point gap. So I'm like, holy smokes. Now it ends up resuming here. It dips down for a second. I added at about 1150. It squeezes up here and I took profit as it went into this halt. It then opens from the halt, dips down, and squeezes up again all the way to 1550. Then it pulls back, pops up, pulls back, pops up, pulls back, and right here we're currently halted going up and showing a resumption of 1552. So on my level 2, I can see the resumption price of 1551 right now. So versus the high here, that's not bad. However, unfortunately, volume hasn't come into it, and I think that's in a large part because IPDN has become the obvious stock with this nice squeeze at the open. So anyway, so IPDN became the obvious stock. So I ended up switching gears, getting a couple trades on that with smaller size. And at that point, the trade on YDES put me back to green on the day. And then on IPDN, I said, well, the last thing I want to do is go and lose $5,000 or $6,000 on that and then be back into the red. So I just trade with small size and made $1,000 on it. And then I said, all right, you know what? Let's get out while the going's good. You already went a lot deeper red today than you'd planned to or than you would have liked to have. You recovered to green. Don't screw it up a second time and go back to red. Now, I will say I'm a little bit perplexed and confused. Yesterday, as I walked, to get over here, to get into the camper, which is where I'm set up for trading, in the back of the Sprinter van, I grabbed my red jacket. And I thought to myself, grabbing a red jacket, the market's so slow. Do you really want to do this? And I said, you know what? Who even cares? The market couldn't get slower. It couldn't get worse. I'm just going to wear red. Guess what? Yesterday, best day of the week. Today, I come over and I'm like, well, I really shouldn't wear red. Yesterday was a good day. And I think that was just a coincidence that I, wore red and it was a good day. So let's go back to the standard of wearing green. I'm wearing green and all of a sudden I go red 13,000. So, I don't know what to say. There's something that's not aligning. Obviously, I'm in Canada. Maybe things work a little differently up here. I'm not sure, but this week trading up here has been good, and the Starlink has been fantastic. I've been really thrilled. The one thing I'll say about the Starlink in motion, which is mounted to the roof of the camper, it's like a $5,000 receiver. It's a little bigger than a large pizza box. I have it mounted to a Pelican case with marine 4 suction cups, and then I have it tethered just up there additionally, just to make sure if it did come loose, it doesn't fall off. But it uses a lot of power. So, I've got solar panels on the roof, and I've got a battery bank under the bench across from me. But if I leave the Starlink on all night and I have just this little fridge on, which is a small fridge unit, the battery will go dead in the middle of the night. And so I have it set up where the car turns on to charge up the batteries, but it's disruptive in the middle of the night to be in the back of the car and hear it turning on because you're like, oh my God, someone driving away, what's happening? So I turn off the Starlink at night, and then I turn it back on in the morning. And when I used to turn it back on in the morning, it would sometimes take 15, 20 minutes to kind of like reconnect. And now I turn it on, I flip the switch, and I'm online within 2 minutes. So 6:45, I'm flipping the switch, and at 6:47, 6:50, I'm logged in. and I'm ready to trade. So, again, I'm just sharing with you what has worked for me. There is some latency, but it's not been bad. I've been really impressed. It's getting better. So, and I think it's getting cheaper also. So something that you guys should check out if you travel quite a bit. So anyways, that's it for me. This is where I finish here the week. Now, for those of you guys that haven't already noticed, guess what? Well, two things. Number one, the market is closed on Monday. We've got a long weekend. It's the Labor Day weekend here in the States. Well, I'm in Canada, but down in the States, it's a Labor Day weekend. And so we've got a sale going on at Warrior Trading. It's a special discount that you guys can check out. It's on our Warrior Starter and our Warrior Pro membership. And we've put together a Warrior Pro bundle. Now you got to come over to the page. I'm not going to scroll down. You got to come over and check it out. But the Warrior Pro bundle is a combination of my curriculum. So all of my classes that I've taught on my day trading strategy, and we combine it with subscriptions and access to the tools I use every single day, including what you're seeing right here, which is Day Trade Dash, the stocks, the scanners, the news feed. We're also going to give you access to our community with verified profitable badge holding traders. You'll be able to listen to my broadcast, chat in the room, and I think you guys are going to get a tremendous amount of value out of it. I'm going to say, as always, my disclaimer that trading is risky, and you know that my results aren't typical, and there's no guarantee you'll find success whether you trade on your own or you do it on your own. Having said that, and stating what I hope is the obvious, I think if you were going to choose to trade on your own or choose to trade next to someone who's making money, to me it makes sense to align yourself with people that are making money. Even if their strategy doesn't end up working for you because your aptitude doesn't align, your risk tolerance doesn't align, it just seems like there's so much value out of learning from people who actually are in the trenches every day and know what the heck they're doing. And you get that here at Warrior Trading. So I really hope you guys check out the Labor Day sale and join us here. Of course, my routine as always, I'll be back in my office at home on Tuesday. So, next week we'll be kind of back in the grind. I know school's back in session for those of you guys who are parents. I'm a parent. So, the routines during the summer gets a little crazy, but now we're getting back into the fall. We're going to get focused. You guys should be studying up, and I'm looking forward to capitalizing on hotter markets ahead. Whether they heat up, this next week or it's not for a couple weeks, I don't know. But when they heat up, I'm going to be pulling out the big share size. I'm going to be scaling up, and I'm going to try to squeeze as much as I can out of the hot market. So hope to see you and, be your guide and your mentor as much as I can be. All right, so that's it for me. Thank you guys as always. Enjoy the long weekend, and I'll see you back here bright and early on Tuesday morning.